Dear students, today we are going to discuss the poem The Times We Are Changing by Bob Dylan, which is in the BCU syllabus, BCom 4th semester. So let us get into the poem. So Bob Dylan is basically, he is called as Robert Zimmerman, and he played guitar in his childhood, and he has learned musical instruments as well. He is a folk singer. He has got Nobel Prize in Literature 2016 for creating a new poetic expressions within the great American song traditions. Most of his poems, if you see, he has reflected his own life, his relationships and religious beliefs. So he is basically a young writer who got influenced from whatever was happening or surrounded by him, and he has included in his poem. This poem, The Times They Are Changing, is written during the civil rights movement, and this poem was sung by many protestants like an anthem. And let us get into the poem. To talk about this poem, as I told you, it is like an anthem for the many Protestants who were raising voice against the culture during that time, or the tradition that was followed, or the government. Because most of the youngsters and the people during that time period, they wanted a difference or the new tradition. That was the main reason why the protest happened, especially in terms of racism and poverty, discrimination. So, let's get into the poem. The first stanza of the poem, if you see, Bob Dylan calls the common people. For what? He calls the common people to come around together to raise their voice against the flaws of the society, governments and the tradition that was followed, because they wanted a new society where there is the equality, where everyone has given opportunity, right? So if you see in the first stanza, come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accepted that soon you will be drenched to the bone. If your time to use worth saving, then you better start swimming, or you will sink like a stone, for the times they are changing. In this poem, the line "for the times they are changing" is repeated again and again. It emphasizes there are changes happening around the world, around the society, in their life. And there are many people who are trying to stop the changes, or who are against the change, who are not able to accept it. He calls the common people here to come around, let's gather together and raise our voice against the poverty or the flaws in the society, against everything. Because he feels that the existing system, the system that they were been following, it needs a change. He feels there is no justice in that system. That is the reason he calls for the change. End of the poem. When we complete this poem, we understand that change is something inevitable. And he takes water as a symbol here, and he says that admit, accept The waters around you are growing. The level of the water is increasing. Suppose you say, no, the water is not increasing, I will stand in this place only. What will happen if you not start swimming? You need to accept, otherwise you will be drenched to the bone, you will sink like a stone. So the one who says that there is no change, or the one who is not accepting the change, finally he or she will be the one to get affected. Because others, those who understand that there is a change and we need to move on, those people will start swimming and they will be safe. But the one who says there is no change and I am not going to accept anything new or new changes in the society, he or she will be the one to get affected. That is what he says in the first stanza. So the first stanza of the poem, he calls the common people and asks them to accept and call for their justice, accept that the changes are happening and to keep moving on with the changes that are happening in the society. So moving on with the second stanza. So in the second stanza, you can see that he shifts his attention towards the writers and critics. So writers and critics, they play a major role in framing the society. So he says, come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen and keep your eyes wide. The chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel is still in spin. And there is no telling who that it is naming, for the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are changing. So he says, he calls the writers and critics. In the first stanza he calls the common people, in the second stanza he calls the writers and the critics, because they are the one who prophesies with their pen. How do they prophesize? They say what the future is going to be in their writing. That is why they are called as prophecies. They say prophecy. They are called as prophets. Now, and he asks them to open their eyes and look at what is happening at that point of time. And he also tells them that you won't get the chance like this again to see and get influenced and write. And again he warns them as well. What does he say? He says, yes, this is a better chance to write. This is a good opportunity. They won't get this opportunity again. He is asking them to look around what is happening in the society. But still he tells them to be very careful in what they write. He tells them, don't speak too soon. Don't say easily what is going to happen. As soon as you see something, don't come to the conclusion. Because still the wheel is in spin. The wheel is in spin. Once it stops only, you can find out what you are going to get. You can see what will happen. You cannot come to the conclusion until the spin stops. Right? That is what he says. So don't come to the conclusion or don't speak too soon, because still the wheel is in spin. And he also says maybe the loser, whoever is the loser today, may be the winner in the future. The reason is the times they are changing. The time is changing. It is not permanent, right? So now, if the time is 10 o'clock, after 5 minutes, it will be 10:05. Nobody can stop that one. There will be change. How the time changes, even the changes in the society, changes in the system, changes in the tradition, everything will happen. So don't speak too soon. So he again, in the third stanza, his attention shifts to the politicians. So what does he say about that in the third stanza? Let's see. In the third stanza, as I said, he shifts his attention towards the politicians and he says that, "Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall. For he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There is a battle outside and it is raining. It will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are changing." So here he says that he talks to the politicians, he talks to the government, he talks to the people who are in the power. He tells them, "Come, listen to the call. Please heed the call." He says, "Please pay attention to the call." So who is calling? The people. What is the call? Why are they calling? They are calling for the change. They need a change in the system, existing system, they need it. So he tells them, the power people, the people who are in the power, to listen, to pay attention. And he also tells them, don't block their hall, don't block up the hall, don't block their way, don't stand in their way. Let them. So he tells that don't stop the people, don't tell them not to protest, let them do it because they are asking for their rights. Right? So he says that suppose if you block up their hall, suppose if you stand in their doorway, they may hurt you. How will they hurt? The reason why will they hurt? There is a battle outside. The battle is going on and everyone with a furious and nobody, there is no peace. They are already in the battle. Outside there is a war. What is a war? The war is between the existing system and the system that they need now. So there is a war going on. Suppose if you come and stand in front of them and block their hall and say that you cannot do this, you cannot do that and don't go away, or don't ask for your rights and just to stay back with the old customs or all the existing system, you will be the one to get hurt. Because the people may shake your windows. They will shake your windows and rattle your walls. So they will bang your walls. They will make a huge sound by banging it. They will shake your windows. The reason is it's not like before. The times they are changing now. Everything is changing. That is what he says to the congressmen and the senators. Who are they? They are the people who are in the power. Right? And then the fourth stanza. So what does he say in the fourth stanza? So in the fourth stanza, he addresses parents, the mothers and the fathers throughout the land. He is not calling one or two. He is telling to all the parents around the world, around the land. And he tells them, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand, for the times we are changing. So what does he say here? He says that, come mothers. Now he calls the parents. So in the first stanza, he talks about the common people. Second, he addresses the writers and critics. In the third, he talks about the leaders of the state, the leaders of the government. And then in the fourth stanza, he talks about the parents. He calls the parents. He addresses the parents. Why does he address the parents? See, anytime there is a clash between the new generation and the old generation, the clash starts from the family itself, because there are different generations. The generation gap between the kids and the parents. Some parents, they do accept what they understand what is the current system and they keep moving. Some parents, they follow the old system and they do not let the kids to follow as well the new system. So therefore he says, don't criticize your kids. Don't say your kids what they are doing is, okay, this is not right, this is wrong, okay, if you are not able to understand. Bob Dylan says, what the students or what the current youngsters, what they think, the older generation cannot understand. So he says, if you can understand, stand along with them and support. Suppose if you are not able to understand, don't block their way, don't block it. Do not take them to your old road, because he says the old road is against of the new road and moreover it is getting aged. So let them create their new path, let them go in their new path. And he says that please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand. He says if you can't support, if you are not able to accept that the times are changing, then better you move from their way. Let them go in their new path. That is what he says. So in the fourth stanza, he addresses the parents and tells them either to support what the new road is, I mean the new path, the new generation. Suppose if you are not able to support or accept the new generation changes, it's better you leave and let them have their own system, right? Somewhere he feels that if some kids, they want to achieve something in their life and the parents are not able to understand what is the value of that position in the current era and they block up their way, so the kid's life ends in some other path which he or she even don't have idea or don't like at all. That is also one of the reasons why he addresses why he speaks to the parents like this. So moving further with the last stanza of the poem, we will complete this with the last stanza. So in the last stanza of this poem, the times they are changing. The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast, the slow one now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be lost, for the times they are changing. So he says whatever the line it was drawn already in the tradition, the old system, or whatever the curse, so he considers here racism, discrimination, right? All these are curse that was caused on the people. So he says the curse it is caused and the line it was drawn, okay, it is drawn. Whoever the slow one today whoever is slow, they may become fast in the future. The order is rapidly fading, whatever the order that they have written, whatever the racism, the discrimination that was there previously, everything is becoming day by day, people are moving out of that and they are accepting everyone as new, okay, everyone as same. So therefore the order is fading away, it is slowly, people they consider everyone as equal. So he says that the first one today, whoever is in the first one, whoever is given priority, whoever is given power, whoever is in the high authority, they may become the last in the future. Because nothing is permanent. Here you don't need to think it in very in a political or even in different method. It's very, very common that it is to be understood that nothing is permanent in the life. Let it be system, customs, tradition, or the power, anything in that matter. Today if you are in the power, tomorrow somebody else may come into the power. Whether you like it or dislike it, but people, I mean the place you are sitting today is not permanent. Right? If you are a youngster, you are in your 20s, tomorrow you may become 21, you cannot change that one, you cannot stop it. That is what the overall idea of this poem you need to understand. The overall poem tells one theme that change is permanent, change is inevitable in the nature. Right? If today is sunny, tomorrow may rain. So that is what the whole poem tells that. So first poem, in this first stanza, he addresses the common people. In the second stanza, he addresses the writers and the critics. And the third, he calls the senators, the politicians. And the fourth, he calls the mothers and fathers of all the land. And then finally, he talks about in the final stanza, he concludes by saying that everything will change one day. Nothing is permanent. The one who is lost today may become first in the future. That is all about this poem, the times they are changing. If you want to listen to many audio clips of BCom 4th semester BCU syllabus, you need to subscribe my channel to get the other audio clips of the other poems and your syllabus as well. I hope this will be a huge help for all the. Thank you. We'll see in the next video.